Right, guys, I'll get around to comments and stuff eventually, but I've got another two to do, and then I want to turn them into a playlist, and then I want to share them on social media, Twitter and Facebook. So, bear with me. This is a letter from Detective Chief Inspector Donald Wass, W-A-S-S, who lost my statement. As I have explained, Cambridgeshire Constabulary is not in a position to provide further detail and investigation with respect to some matters which were pertinent to your concerns, namely whether Huntingdon District Council had followed the correct procedure to adopt a blah 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 blah. To ensure clarity, Cambridgeshire Constabulary is unable to progress these matters. Well, you're a liar anyway, love. So, yeah, you're probably chief superintendent by now, I would think. But your whole career means nothing, basically. So I've now got an email. That letter was dated 24th February 2011. But they took my statement, of course. So this is an email I've sent, to a few. So the council have decided that the trader is trading illegally. Funny that, since the police have already admitted to me that the council have broken the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982 by failing to have the proper permissions to charge for the trading licence. So what's going on then? Is this the Nazi state I predicted? Which we see quite a lot of current day. Oh yes, one of the first times they started calling around trying to arrest me and stuff, because I believe this would go back some years. Apparently I wasn't thereafter allowed to contact the Chief Constable, Sir Graham Bright, who was their first Police Crime Commissioner, who told me he'd have me arrested with his special powers of arrest. And then I asked in an FOI request what they were, and they had to admit that they didn't actually have any special powers of arrest. And then he couldn't stand for office again, which was a shame. Joanne Lancaster, who we've just heard quite a lot from, Ian Sims, who's one of the licensing. Was he? I think he was the council tax collector, chief council tax collector, and Jonathan Ginocchio, the MP, who, by the way, was on the back benches because of me. Yes, Chris Mead again. It's Superintendent Mead. Now, they decided, all of them, because the council and the police are best chums, to go down to do lay-by and harass my mate. And so the woman, I think her name was Christine Allinson, the trading licence woman. Because by this time, you see, Greg Peck, along with many others, had legged it out the back door, taking their pension money with them, because I'd exposed the fraud. So this Christine Allinson woman, and she went up to my mate and said, "Oh, you're trading illegally." And he went, "Well, no, I'm not, because you never filled in the proper permissions to charge for the trading licence." And then she ran back to the car and sat in it on her phone for 20 minutes. You never actually saw her get out again. And then the police noticed a crack in his windscreen, and they said he'd stolen a number plate as well. So they tried to do him for that, and he got away with it in court. Right, he got completely cleared, admonished of all charges. Superintendent Mead, I'm aware there was a positive action taken yesterday as a result of a joint police and HDC visit. He did say somewhere it was a highly successful joint operation. I think that was it. It would not be appropriate for me to discuss the personal business of another with you without their written consent. That's right, I can just phone the guy up. Highly successful joint operation. Right, I've put this in. This is just to give you an idea. When these emails and letters were going out, because letters were photocopied many, many times. So, for example, I mean, this is from 2011, but it matters not. This email went to Simon Parr, who was the Chief Constable, Ginocchio, Mark Kemp, who was in charge of County Highways, Roy Reeves, who we'll get onto in a minute, the next video, Greg Peck, Steve Turner, the local government ombudsman, one journalist, sent to the editor of the Hunts Post, sent to Talkback at the Sun, and sent to Daily Telegraph. And that's just an example of how far and wide these things were being spread. Oh yes. During one of my arrests, they actually stole my phone because I never got a receipt from it, and then they tried to lie about that and say that because they'd taken it for whatever reason that they didn't need to give me a receipt. Police officers recovered property in connection with the police investigation. No, you didn't. You stole it. The property is listed over leaf is no longer required by the police. This was about 5 months later, by the way. 5 months they kept the thing for. And can be collected from Huntingdon Police Station. Why in the world you'd think I'd want to stand within a mile of any of you? Because you're all corrupt lying scum, let alone be in the same building as you. You're not very bright, are you? So, the IPCC, as was. It's now the IOPC, and it's still full of ex-coppers who protect their mates. So, according to your employee, Lisa Perrin-Lester, I have no outstanding cases at the IPCC. I can only imagine that was sarcasm, because they're obviously just trying to lie to me and saying that nothing was on file. I thought Cambridge Police Authority, I thought they'd blocked my email address. Can you block an email address? I don't know. They certainly weren't answering them in a minute. But then I phoned the Chief Constable and he refused to speak to me. I phoned direct and got his secretary, and she was like, well, why would you want to speak to him? Well, because he's a criminal, love. Yeah. Not sure why I put this in. This was, again, this is going back to one of the original times, and these two coppers turned up at the door one night, and remarkably they didn't force their way into my house like PC Dean or PC Whelan, and they just left without me going with them. But one of them was wearing a police body armour thing, but they're both CID. So why they were wearing anything? And I think one of them said there was a sergeant, and they weren't. This is interesting because this was from Nick Cook. I don't know what rank he is. I'm not sure I ever found out what rank he was. You will know then by virtue of that process that the emails you have sent cause harassment, alarm and distress by virtue of the bad language and threats. Well, don't steal 25 years worth of taxpayers' cash then and try and cover it up, is all I can suggest.